Live here. This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com, and I'm using a cell phone. So, excuse me if the audio isn't the greatest. This is a video update for the Smackdown that aired on Fox yesterday. It was the lowest rated Smackdown of WWE's Fox era so far. They had a 0.7 rating and 2.35 million viewers. So they had a very low Raw this past weekend, the third lowest in history. Not this past weekend, but this past Monday. And that's followed up by low SmackDown, and NXT was also down and got defeated by AEW this week. Although, from what I understand, the AEW show was not that great this week. I just listened to a podcast with Les Thatcher on my drive up here to Albany, and he said he was really disappointed with this week's SmackDown on Fox. And one of the points that he made in that podcast was the elite aren't over to like a national audience yet, and they have a lot of them doing jobs to even less known wrestlers on there. So they're not doing a good job of making stars, according to him, who's been watching All Elite. I haven't. I'm not that interested in it. Someone saying on here, sorry for blocking the camera, CM Punk on the November 22nd SmackDown. I expect that he'll make some type of appearance because Survivor Series, Raw, SmackDown, and I believe there's a takeover all in Chicago coming up. And he is working for the WWE backstage on Fox. So, of course, they'll probably have him cover that. Why I'm in front of the hay here, by the way, is I'm going to be interviewing Hilbilly Jim in about an hour and a half, 2 hours from now. It's going to be an extended career interview, and there will be a live stream as part of the interview. Jimmy is saying, what the hey? Well, yeah, it's a fitting background for Hillbilly Jim, so maybe around 9 o'clock I will try and live stream it. I did forget my cell phone holder, so you'll have to forgive me if the live stream is not that great. But somebody had a funny question. They said I should ask Hillbilly Jim what he thinks about dick grabs and wrestling, since that's a hot topic these days. That's funny. Thoughts on NXT UK? Nuff said is asking me. I've never seen it. I know they're not doing house shows anymore because they weren't drawing. They're basically, from what Renee Dupree told me, who has been over in England, NXT UK, they basically do a training camp once a month when they do their TV tapings, and it's like a 2 or 3 day camp. And other than that, those guys can wrestle for other companies in the UK as long as WWE doesn't consider them competition, and they're not allowed to wrestle like Ring of Honor stars. But from a touring standpoint, they're not doing very good because they're only doing TV tapings. Lots of questions on here, but I'm really just testing out the live stream and giving you guys the news on SmackDown. There's not much other news in wrestling today. Will I ever interview New Jack? Yes, I'm sure I will. I have met him once in an elevator, and he seemed nice at that point. I am going to be in Philadelphia next week. I don't know if he's going to be there. I'm doing an interview with Bill Apter in Philadelphia, hopefully Shane Douglas, as well as Billy Jack Haynes and Snitsky. So anyone with questions for those guys, throw them down in the comments. Dave's saying he still has the Hillbilly Jim action figure. Strangely enough, that's the very first action figure I ever got, was a Hillbilly Jim action figure, and it was before I was even a wrestling fan. My parents got it for me at like a garage sale, and I loved it, but it was before I even saw wrestling. So then when I saw wrestling, I started collecting all of them. But yeah, the Hillbilly Jim action figure was my first, but I'll check out for now. But yeah, around between 8:30 and 9:30, you're probably going to see a live stream, Eastern time that is, with Hillbilly Jim. And I'll ask some of your questions during that. So there's lots of good interviews coming up. Someone's asking about Ted Hart. I don't know if he lives in Philadelphia or Orlando anymore, but if he does live in Philadelphia, I'm sure I'll run into him next week. Any inside news on Francine? I just reported in the Wrestling Observer report this week that I did. She just had surgery. That's the inside news on her. She had several surgeries, so she's having some health issues.